So we are here to announce the show called Vocalize So You Rise. And Michael, why don't you tell us about it?
Um, well, we've known each other for months because we're in movement makers, and because of our two missions, yours to have people speak out and speak up, and mine to get people to be empowered. That to me sounded like it was very combined. It was very similar. So I thought we could do a show where we talk about speaking out and speaking up so that you become more confident, more empowered, and you'll feel better about yourself and what you can or cannot do. And I just thought those two things married very well, very nicely. So I wanted to do a show with you because because I just like to have conversations and have guests on and talk about different things and different stories and where people are. And I thought the two of us together could help a lot of people.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So here we are, and I created some pictures. Well, a collage, I should say, both
Yeah.
for Instagram and the YouTube thumbnail. And so you sent me a couple of pictures, which I thought was very cool. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the pictures.
Um. Well, I just took random pictures that I thought might look empowering or have connection because I took some pictures of friends. I took some headshots that I had of myself. So I just thought they looked out. Honestly, I just thought they looked good. There was nothing behind them. They were the best ones that I liked that I had on Facebook.
Okay, cool. So I probably could screen share, but they're going to see it anyway. So the top pictures I used for Instagram is you with all those
Yeah,
medals.
funny story.
Yeah, that
Funny
must have
story.
been
The
like,
last year, I always said I did Olympic Games for 9 years, and I always said on the last day that I'm gonna wear every single one of my medals. And by the end, I had 47.
wow. Oh, those are 47 medals.
That's 47 medals on me,
Okay,
and
wow.
I all day. I looked like Mr. T. Um, it, it's funny because it got me an interview with
Uh-huh.
a newspaper, so that was kind of cool. So that was just, and it got me a story from my college too. And they used that for my college newspaper. It was just I wanted to show off what I did, and I had 47 medals, 42, 50. Well, actually, no, it was 57. Uh, 42 of them were gold, 13 were silver, and I think four were bronze.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's amazing. So why did you stop?
it was age cutoff. You had to stop when you were graduated high school.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it.
I did it from age 10 to 19.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks cool. I mean, it looks like one of your proudest moments.
Oh yeah, it
So,
was that and graduating high school were two of my favorites, definitely.
yeah. Oh, then I've chosen the right one. So, the one next to you is me standing in Phoenix, in the desert. Of course, that's Arizona. And I walked up there with my crutches. So I still needed my second surgery. So this must have been September 2018. And um, actually, the crutches were very useful to climb up. But
Sure,
it was
yeah.
victory for me. So we were staying at a hotel where Brandon Burchard was giving his conferences, and they had this cart, this golf cart. So they drove me to the trail, And then I got out, and that's when I started walking. And I said, I want to go to the top. So someone was with me, and she took a picture for me. And that was kind of cool. So there I am next to a cactus. Do you call it cactus too?
Yeah, cactus, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a lot of people who saw it got really inspired by me actually being on top of there, because my ankle back then, the tendon was still moving around, and it really hurt. So if my foot is put forward, and you can see the brace around my foot, but I wasn't going to let it stop me, and it's because I spoke out and asked people to help me that they actually drove me all the way down there to the beginning of the trail, and and that's me. I'm always talking to people, knowing people. So even though I stayed there during the conference, I didn't stay at the hotel to sleep over there. I did have my lunch and my dinner, but they didn't mind. They knew where I was, and I got brought everywhere in that golf cart. So, but this is literally, and it aligns for me with the picture underneath. So there are two reasons why I chose it. One reason is because I liked it that both of us were sitting in the wheelchairs with a friend next to us. So that seemed to align really nicely. But also that picture was taken straight after surgery. So I postponed the surgery so it could be 6 weeks. I was traveling 6 weeks through the US, which I did. So I've been in Florida, Arizona, and probably in California. Not sure, but I'm pretty sure I was. And then I had the surgery, and the guy he was there. He's the tattoo artist. And so I had my surgery on Monday, and on Wednesday there was a concert from the Dead Daisies. And if you've ever seen this sleeve, it's upside down, I know. But this sleeve, and this is actually the heart on there, which is, I'll show it on here. I don't think you can see it very well, but on my hand is a little heart. And so I wanted to go and see the Dead Daisies, and that was in Zoetermeer. We called Sweet Lake City, translated Sweet Lake City. And I don't know how it happened, but for some reason I ended up at a care facility, care hotel, which was in Sweet Lake City. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go to the concert no matter what. And so I did. So they dropped me off with my wheelchair over there. There are pictures of me with those trash bags all over me, covering the cast. I wasn't allowed to use my wheelchair, though, in the concert hall because there were too many people with wheelchairs. So they said, well, we need to fold it unless you want to be all up there at the balcony. And I was like, no, I don't want to sit at the balcony. I want to be actionist. So I hopped on my crutches because I couldn't put any weight on that foot. Of course, they just put two pins in there. They shaved off a piece of the bone, and they attached it together and closed it all up again. And I actually pushed myself up on the stage because they had a pre-concert for an acoustic concert on the floor of the concert hall for those people who were early. And I was one of the people who was early. And then afterwards they did the concert. So I had someone actually pick me up, and he lifted me off the stage. He offered it, which was very kind. And and then I would sit on those folding chairs they had on the side, but I still could, I was part of the show. So that was cool. So so afterwards they had a little interview round, and they actually recorded a whole lot on video. And so the guitar player said to me, you need to tell them that I sucked at playing guitar. And I was like, what? Oh, no, okay, if that's what you want. And so I did, and he truly appreciated. So he drew this little heart on my hand. So this picture is where I went to the tattoo artist. I didn't know he was there actually. And we discussed it, and later on he tattooed it, but then on the inside of my wrist. So, but for me, that was the beginning of my new life. So this sleeve is dedicated to the beginning of my new life, as in a new life of freedom. So, yeah, so it's very meaningful. As for you, you are there with a friend, and you came from a concert, I suppose.
No, that was my friend Greg. I used to do poetry readings on every Monday, and I did it for years and years. And he was a poet. He died in 2016. He actually killed himself, and that was the last time I ever saw him. We lived in Vegas, and then he moved back from where he's from in Alabama, and that was the last time I ever saw him.
Oh, okay. So why did you choose this one?
Just because, partially because what I want to do, or the process of what I want to do, has to do with connection and community and friendship and bringing people together. And we were friends. We knew each other for years, and it was a good picture, and it was a good time, and it just had a lot to do with what I like, the community and connection and friendship, and that's why I wanted it.
Yes, I love it. Well, I'm all about speaking up and speaking out, so people don't turn inside hurting themselves and in the long run harming others. And let's face it, committing suicide is a result of usually keeping inwards and not expressing what's really going on. Whether because they're ashamed or there are other reasons. And what I've noticed is all of us can be around that one person, and that one person can still feel alone. So it's so important that we reach out a helping hand. But at the same time, if it happens, it's so important that we do not blame ourselves, because in the end, it's not us choice.
Yeah, it's them. It's them and what they're going through. But the last year, that was like 6 months to almost a year before he died. Mm-hmm. I had no idea. He was hurting, had problems, was sad. I thought he was fine, and then I wake up one day and I hear on Facebook that he's gone. That just blew me away. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
And he basically gave his last post as like a precursor, like, this is what's going to happen. And I didn't see it until after he was gone, but it was kind of like eerie and ominous, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I totally get it. So a while ago, actually 9 years ago, someone said to me, we all know people who have committed suicide. I suppose that's true. I know several. The first time was when I was 16 years old, maybe around that age. And every person I know who did. So the first one, she came from an environment of abuse, so close to human trafficking, or maybe you could call it human trafficking, but it was done by her own family. So that's horrible. The second one I remember was a colleague, and by that time I wasn't doing good myself. I was coping with both burnout and also dealing with not getting any support from work. They literally said, we're not going to have your colleague help you out, because then you'll get a burnout too. And we don't want two people with burnout. So you have to figure out on your own how you're going to solve this. Well, thank you. So what struck me, because we had some good conversations. He was a great guy, you know, he was very technical, and he was the first one to try new stuff, very dedicated. And apparently he was very distraught that when I got the new colleague, it wasn't him who had become the new colleague, but someone else. And when I went to the funeral, his sister said, I know who you are. And I said, you do? And she said, yeah, he talked about you. So that was, yeah, that was, on one hand, that was weird. On the other hand, it was a compliment. And I just regret that he didn't reach out to me more. But I was capable, you know, at that point to do something. And the last one was about a year ago, a year and a half. One of my clients actually, and this had to do with so something in her brain didn't quite function very well, making her very depressed at times. So it was borderline. She had a borderline personality disorder. And, you know, it was during COVID. COVID had just hit. And she was actually the one who has tattooed those two swallows on my arm. And this was her third or fourth one. I think it was her third one. She wasn't natural. She was talent. And it was very regretful that she didn't believe that she had the talent she had, and she didn't give herself the time. And, you know, I guess that's when you go from adolescent to adulthood, and you have to start taking care of yourself, and it just doesn't work. And that's one of the reasons why I like to work with young people as well. So I also guide people who are late 20s, so they can make this transformation from adolescence to actually being able to work. And then we get to inclusion, because the ones I support are the ones who have autism, borderline, all that stuff, you know, and just work 40 hours a week. We have a 40-hour work week in the Netherlands, or less than other people can. So that's something I needed to share when it came to people taking their lives. But I do know that this last year, I have saved a couple of people from taking their lives already. And yeah, it's a hard topic, but, you know, so valuable. Do you want to add something to that?
Well, it's hard to go through that. I've lost multiple people who have killed themselves. I've known people who have killed themselves. I've known people who just gave up, really, and just didn't kill themselves, really, but just gave up. So it's, you have to look, the way I look at it is what they taught us, what they're teaching us, what their stories teaching us, what they went through is teaching us, and what you have to do for yourself going forward because of their experience. That's what strengthens me when I think about people having tragedy.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's what I've noticed also when I was talking about people with narcissistic partners on my show last week, because I also have another one, that people think they are on their own at times, or ashamed to talk about it. And you know, it's the same thing when it comes to people. Well, actually, it drove a number of people, I guess, to suicide, or they survived and they became really strong. But you can reach out to people and let them know there is support. We listen to you. Come here, tell your story. Or if you know someone who's about to, let's reach out to him or her. That would make a difference. So I know you had some very, what shall I call it? Some very dark moments in your past.
Yeah.
And you climbed out of it. So you didn't commit suicide, but you are here. You are here speaking out on the show, Vocalize Your Eyes.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
It's just basically it's a combination of accomplishment, working hard, watching videos, reading books, listening to audiobooks, getting deep into personal development, and just knowing what's possible. I know, and honestly, it's a big part of my parents, because I know my father and brother, if I had killed myself, they would have been devastated. They would have been hurt, but they would have been emotionally strong enough to handle it. My mother would not have made it a month. She would have fallen off. So she's the main reason I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I know she wouldn't have been able to handle it. And it goes back to what you're saying. You want to end it. You want to end it for yourself, but sometimes, but it's others who suffer the most.
That's so true. That's so true. I talked to someone not too long ago, and I said, this may be the end for you, and you may be at peace, and you might think it's for the best because you've lived your life. I said, but here's the thing: you got kids, and what do you think those kids are going to? They're not going to think I did enough.
Yeah.
And you can say they did enough, and I'll tell you that's not the way they're going to think, and it will stay with them for the rest of their lives. So, it's true what you say. It's the surrounding. You have a hard time coping with it, and I know one now who only has slept like 3.5 hours a night ever since. For a month he couldn't think. Totally blacked out. And even now, still traumatized. And the longer you wait to be able to deal with traumas, the longer your mind comes up with little solutions in order to survive. And try to get rid of those little solutions. That's why they nowadays want to see people where the trauma happened, like literally maybe days or weeks, and they haven't ingrained new systems in order just to survive. Basically get out of the emotions as quickly as they can.
I was like, you can be at peace, but that's when everyone else's hell starts.
Yes.
Everyone else's hell that loves you.
That's a good one. We can be, or the person can be at peace, but the hell starts for all the others. Yeah, that's so true. I couldn't say it any better. So next Monday, we'll be going live officially. So this was it as a teaser for people. Going to be little snippets on Instagram and everywhere. So is there anything you would like to add? I didn't mention the other 2 pictures. So there are 2 more pictures of you and me. And let's see if I can find them, which are on the YouTube thumbnail. And of course, I can only find the Instagram thumbnail. Let's see, where are you? Oh, here you are. So one is with me on crutches, and actually what I'm doing there is I'm dancing. people had so much fun and they had such a good time seeing me dance that all of them started dancing. They couldn't, they couldn't not dance. And
Yeah.
even when I yeah.
Yeah.
And even when I was tired, I would just sit down on the table and just, use my. So you are there and you are near some sort of parking lot, which says there's a 10-minute break possible. What is it?
Yeah, that was outside of a coffee shop at a poetry reading. It was probably 2013 or 14. And they just were like taking pictures, and that was just me being silly and doing a wheelie.
Yeah, I love it. You being goofy and doing the wheelie. So
yeah.
It also shows, because I bet you have a couple of cool wheelchairs, depending on what you need them for.
I've had cool wheelchairs. I only have two right now because I generally get a wheelchair and then have a backup, and just think the other one breaks. Because the one I'm in now, the wheel is completely screwed. So I have on order a bunch of things to fix it. So I generally have two on hand for like problems.
Yes, yeah, just like I had my second pair of crutches on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course always the rubber would wear out. I remember that I was in the US when the rubber wore out, and it was like clunk clunk every time I would take a step because it would be the metal, on the floor. Yeah, so so I always pinned my crutches, with I had like literally like sleeves around them, and people loved it.
Nice.
So do you have your current wheelchairs? Have you pinned them or?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't pimp my chairs. They're just there. I used to love that show, Pimp My Ride. I wanted to. I don't know how you'd go about it, but yeah, it is what it is. That's it.
Okay. Well, have you seen my brace, which I'm using right now? So for around 2 months ago, I stopped using my crutches because I was capable of walking a little bit with the support of my knee brace. So my problem was with my ankle, but because that's 3 years ago, I started walking again this summer, tidbits, and then my knee caved in. So in order to prevent myself from having an artificial knee, I got this brace. Have you ever seen it? It's got the stripes on there from the American flag. And it's not because I want to be American, although I love the US, don't get me wrong. I would really love to live over there. But I'm just a stars kind of girl. I like the white, red, blue, and if you were to see my pillows over there, they're with stars and stripes. So that's a funny story.
Yeah. Most of the pictures I gave you were just the ones I liked. My favorite one was there's a picture of me and my brother-in-law. Is the blonde guy we're smiling. That was at a Paul McCartney concert.
Let's see if I can find that one. Hang on. Oh, that was pretty much a headshot of the both of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we can show the people what it is. That has to be this one. No? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were at Petco Park in California at a Paul McCartney concert. It's funny. That was my honeymoon. So it was supposed to be me and my wife, but she was sick, so me and my brother-in-law went.
Okay. So what made it so special?
Well, because he's gone. We don't have him anymore. He died
Oh,
about a year ago. And that's just one of my favorite moments.
yeah, I get it. I noticed you're a musician too. I didn't know. So you played bass?
I play bass. I just farts around. I'm not really good. I just like to do it. Just
Okay.
to it was just to play around and be like, I'm not very good. I just do it to do it.
Okay.
I,
Well,
my main things are writing and wheelchair sports.
so that's
Yeah,
you.
you love that picture.
Yeah. Well, I play keyboard and I play drums, and then I still have guitar in the back. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, because my fingertips split open every once in a while. You can see it like right here,
Hmm.
and so and over here there are two more.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay.
Well, that's not very handy when you're playing guitar, and
No.
also being able to play the same note on six strings. That was kind of like a mind beep because I started that when I was 3 years old. So
Yeah.
when I started playing drums, which was because I had to regain my strength in my wrists.
Hmm.
Um, that was actually kind of cool, and I didn't have that same problem, with the melody.
Yeah.
I just needed to listen really well in order to hear what was going on, and having been able to always read sheet music. Here was the cheat sheets. Sheet music. It yeah, that was kind of a challenge for me, but in the end, it was a good thing, and I do believe I play the melody instruments way better right now. So, anything else before we're going to wrap up that you want to share with us? Maybe about the pictures, maybe about something else, maybe about the show, your expectations, what you want to say to people.
Um, my expectations for the show is just have good conversations, get people to talk back and forth and open up dialogues and tell stories and help people really. Um, that's just my desire for the show is just to help people and get people to talk and open up and create a dialogue and tell stories and tell their narrative, and that's my whole thing. That's all I really want. I mean, your story and my story will eventually come out and open up in different episodes, but that's really all I wanted to say.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm looking forward to us working together. Um, of course, I do also have the other one, Speaking Out Loud with Lady Lexy. I don't know what the difference is going to be. I'm co-hosting it right now with Cheeky Joe. Well, that is saying is we try to. For
Mm-hmm.
some reason, the first time she fell asleep, and the second time she couldn't get on until she used Chrome. So I don't know, something isn't going the way it should. But I love doing this. It's at a different time, so that makes it possible for people who want to watch a little bit earlier to watch it too. So that's good.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is it's at the beginning of the week. So most shows that you and I watch are in the middle of the week or at the end of the week, and this one
Yeah.
is on the Monday. So maybe we can give people a head start
Yeah.
at the beginning of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, I'm just going to say, if for some reason you're not looking forward to the week, get to people, find out why it is, talk to them. And if you do look forward to the week, then share it with other people, write it down, because gratitude also always gives a positive vibe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
something you want to add to it?
Yeah. Just like you said, gratitude. Gratitude is a stepping stone to empowerment. I think because if you're happy and you're grateful, that's just it's one step away or a couple of steps away from feeling strong and empowered and feeling better about where you're going and where you've been and what you can and cannot do.
Yes, that's so true. That's so true. So what would you say to people if they need a little nudge in the back?
Momentum is key. Do something to get you going. Figure out what you love. Be passionate, because if you don't like it, you're not going to keep doing it. But once you find it and you do it, and you bridge a couple days or a week consistently, that's just gonna empower you and strengthen you to keep going and to change your life and possibly other lives.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. And that's, I guess that we are not aware of.
What was that?
And I said I like that because
Thank you.
I don't think we are aware of the impact we can have on other people. And
yeah.
And maybe we're just on our own. But even as one person, we can have major impact on, well, even if it was just one person, that would already make a difference. But most of the time we do influence far more people than we are aware of. And so,
I mean, a few weeks back, I got an email from a woman in Brazil thanking me for what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. See?
That's pretty big.
That's cool. I mean, all the way from Brazil. And actually, I mean, we're our continent's way. I'm on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about all this stuff. You know, we can be in the same room and still be miles apart. But that's really cool. Okay, so if anyone is watching and you have a story to share about how you empowered yourself, or maybe you actually could use some support because you don't know where to go, or you know other people who could use a little nudge in the back, find us. We know what it's like to deal with struggles, and I believe that in every show we probably will share a little bit about our own stories in the process. Right?
I'm sure they'll come out. Yeah. I mean, because people sharing stories is partially what helps other people, I think.
Yeah, I agree. You know, so many people, especially the ones I met at the airport, they were so inspired because I would still be smiling, you know, about whatever it was what happened. And even now, you know, I can still tell stories about being stranded on the highway, which happened a couple of weeks ago. And then I say, okay, so here's a funny story. And I say, it's not maybe the best thing to say, but it is funny. So we have to saying about when you spit out mucus or something, you know. So people who smoke or they chew tobacco, that's what they do, you know, at some point. So of course it's something as a lady you're not supposed to do, but when I'm choking on something, I will do it. So I was basically choking on something. So I had this lump in my throat. It was swollen. So all I could think of was I need to be able to swallow again. So whatever the blockage is, it needs to come out. Of course it didn't, but that's a different story. But then the guy from the tow truck came because I was parked on the hard shoulder. And he looked at me and he said, wow, I have an immense spitting range. I'm not sure if it was meant for women or in general. And again, it's not like, but it, you know, it's if you think about it, it's very funny in the circumstances. So and you know, that's the way I like to look at things, you know. Sometimes
everything should be light and funny, and a lot of things should be light and funny because you just have to look at the bright side.
Yes.
If you don't, you're going to be really unhappy.
I totally agree. And you know, there's nothing more like having people and leaving them with a smile on their face, laughing wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my forte. That's what I'm good at, getting people
Yeah.
to smile. And now we're going to do it together. So that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
So I want to say thank you, Michael, and thank you to viewers out there. And we'll see you